this video here today, I am going to be explaining to you guys my top 10 most favorite movies. Now, these movies are basically going to be chosen based on my opinion, and I am going to explain why they are my top 10 most favorite movies. Now, a lot of people have a different taste of movies, and they're different genres, so that is okay, and this is just my opinion, and these are my top 10 favorites. And here is a list of genres that I basically like about movies. It is mostly action, adventure, suspense, comedy, and historical fiction or something like that. And either way, I am now going to be explaining to you guys my top 10 most favorite movies.
Don't worry, Marv, I'll get them for you.
Number 10 is Home Alone. Home Alone is really a absolutely comical film that is mostly watched during Christmas time in many families and houses. And I was a bit skeptical when I first watched this movie, but as I continued to keep watching it, it got really funny. So that's why it is on my number 10 top list. And it is basically the story of a kid who is home alone when his family is on Christmas break, and there are two robbers who try to rob the house. I'm pretty sure a lot of you have heard about it, but either way, it is really funny, and I highly recommend it, and that is why it is on my number 10 in my top favorite movies.
Expecto Patronum!
Number 9, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. The Harry Potter series is really some of the most iconic films I have ever seen. As you know, it is based off of a novel series called Harry Potter, and this movie, The Prisoner of Azkaban, the third in the series, is really liked by a lot of people because it is really good based on a technical standpoint, but also I really like it because I think it did a really good job of converting from the book to the actual big screen, and also because it had a lot of technical behind the scenes that were absolutely stunning. The man behind this is the director, Alfonso Cuarón, and I really like his style of filmmaking, and it really shines, and that is why Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban is number 9 in my top 10 favorites. Number 8, The Lion King. The Lion King is without doubt one of the most top Disney classics of all time, and a lot of people know about this movie because it is a Disney classic, and as you know, it was converted into a live-action movie last year. But I still think that the animated one made in 1994 was better because I think it did a better job than the live action of showing the story of the Lion King, which is Simba, the prince who loses his father, and then he goes on the run, and then he has to come back and face his destiny. So yeah, that is why the Lion King is on my number 8 in my top 10 favorites. Number 7. Star Wars The Phantom Menace. I think that a lot of reason that many Star Wars fans disregard the prequels is because it is overshadowed by the original trilogy and how good it was. So the prequel trilogy is a trilogy that many people forget, and I think the beginning to this prequel trilogy, The Phantom Menace, is a really good movie because it was the beginning of the story explaining how Anakin Skywalker ended up becoming Darth Vader. And trust me, the music is also very good, and the fight and action scenes are really great and well done, so that is why it takes number 7 on this list. Number 6, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. I think Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1 was really unsatisfying because they had cut the book into 2 separate movies, which was actually talked a lot about before they actually got to the 7th movie, so they had to cut it in 2 parts, and I think the first one was very unsatisfying because we never got a really good ending, similar to Avengers Infinity War. However, I think Deathly Hallows Part 2 really was the best finale to Harry Potter. It mostly focuses on the Battle of Hogwarts, which is the biggest part of the final chapters of the Deathly Hallows book. It does a good job of showing the Battle of Hogwarts from everyone's perspectives and the people who are fighting in it. And like I said, it is the greatest finale to the Harry Potter series, so it takes number 6 on this list. Number 5, the first Avengers movie. the first Avengers movie really was the first movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe for all of the superheroes to gather together and unite as one and fight against a common enemy. So I think the first Avengers movie really was the groundwork for the very successful Avengers movies, which I think were all absolutely fantastic. But I think this first one is really, really good because this was the first one that had brought all of the superheroes we had known before this together and unite as one. So that is why it takes number 5 on this list, and because it has some pretty great action scenes. Number 4, Star Wars Return of the Jedi. Though I think Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, which was released last year, was not too bad finale for the Star Wars franchise, but I still think Return of the Jedi was a much better finale than Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. I think that is because Return of the Jedi finally showed Darth Vader return to Anakin Skywalker and fulfill his destiny as the Chosen One, which was talked about in the very first movie, The Phantom Menace. And more than that, I think the Return of the Jedi showed much better way of showing than The Rise of Skywalker how everybody gathered together and united against the evil empire than the Resistance did against the First Order in The Rise of Skywalker. So that's why the Return of the Jedi takes number 4 on this list, and also because it was an incredible finale to the Star Wars franchise. Number 3 is Titanic. I respect a many number of films, not because of just their plots and how they are executed, but because how they actually showed the events that are happening in the movie. And I think that Titanic did a really good job at this. The Titanic was a ship that hit an iceberg and sank in the North Atlantic Ocean in 1912, and they changed it into this amazing historical fiction journey of the Titanic from its setting sail and to sinking in the Atlantic. And I also really like this because it does a really good job of showing what actually happened during the sinking of the Titanic. I also like this movie very much because the editing, the music, and the sound effects, and the technical standpoint really was well done in this movie. So I also really like that. And also I think that this is the best historical movie that has ever been made, and that is why it takes number 3 on my list.
You may not like him, Minister, but you can't deny Dumbledore's got style.
Number 2, Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. Up until recently, I absolutely really didn't like this movie. I think it was because it was overshadowed by the bad parts in the book. The Order of the Phoenix book in the Harry Potter series was without doubt the worst book. So I thought that the movie would just as be bad as the book. So that's why for the past couple of years, I've mostly ignored thinking that it would be bad as the book. But then, very quite recently, actually, I sat down and actually started to reread the book and watch the movie again. And I realized that this is actually the best Harry Potter movie because I think it did a very good job of changing the bad parts from the book into good parts and choosing what to cut and what to keep from the book. I also really like this movie because it did a very good job of showing Harry's internal struggles, especially during this book and during this movie, and that is why it takes number 2 on my list. My most favorite movie of all time up to this point is without doubt Avengers Endgame. Avengers Endgame was released just last year, and I feel really bad for the people who missed the experience to watch it in the cinemas because I really absolutely loved it. And the reason I loved it was because it was the grand finale to a series 11 years in the making. And more than that, it was coming off just after a huge cliffhanger when everybody lost in Avengers Infinity War. And this movie really was an epic finale to the MCU that we love so much, and that is why it takes the number 1 spot on my top 10 favorite movies. And that is my top 10 most favorite movies of all time. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and please hit that subscribe button. And I'm going to say this again, this is all just based on my opinion. You may disagree with me, and you may have your own set of top 10 favorite movies, but either way, these are my top 10 favorite movies of all time. And once again, thank you so much for watching, and hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.